Right, so on to the next stage of doing the little Mini. We've done the subframe. All the new parts are on, been painted up, so that's ready to go back now, except for the little steering links, which I'll put them on later. That's ready to go back. For the next stage, we're going to pull most of it's off now. Subframe's gone, so it's easy to get to the gearbox. We need to do that release bearing and check out that jamming of the reverse gear on that selector. So that's what we'll do next. We'll pull that gearbox out. We've got the bell housing bolts to take off, battery box, ECU, engine mounting, starter motor. Then it should drop out then. So we'll crack on with that. So first of all, we'll start with taking out the battery and then the ECU, which is a couple of clips. The ECU comes out, then onto the battery box itself, a couple of bolts underneath, that lifts out the battery box. Disconnect the reverse switch, and then we can start with the linkages, disconnecting the linkage from the top of the gearbox. Next thing to do is remove some of the bell housing bolts, leaving a couple in place until you get it chocked up, and then you can release the gearbox mounting plate. Then it's underneath the car where you can get some more of the bell housing bolts and the bottom bolt for the starter motor. Once you get that one out, then you go to the top of the car and release the one at the top so you can get the starter motor off. Next it's jack up the engine, get some axle stands, get an axle stand under the engine to mount it, and then you can disconnect the mounting plate for the gearbox. So now we can support the weight of the gearbox, remove the remaining bell housing bolts, take the weight of the gearbox. They're not that heavy, these, to be honest, and then you can lower it down and the gearbox comes out. Well, the gearbox is out now, but I think we've got a bigger problem than the clutch bearing. Look at this. Smashed the casing. Here's the fact the pieces there, look. Wow. Smashed all the casing, so definitely worth taking the gearbox out. Actually, the bearing's not that bad actually. But look at that, that casing's gone totally. Something's gone inside, probably a bearing, broke free and smashed it all. So doesn't look too bad. I'll pull that off, see what the plate's like. Doesn't look that old, to be honest. Yeah, there looks to be plenty of meat on it. So next job, strip this gearbox down. See where we go from there. Right, we've got all the gearbox out now. Obviously we know what the problem is. It's smashed the casing. So we'll strip that and have a look at that in a minute. The gearing, so ironically, when it was stuck before, you can get them all now. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and reverse. But we need to strip it all out now. The options I've got really is either a new casing, bell housing casing, or if it's damaged that shaft, which it probably has done, we're going to need a new shaft or another gearbox. But it does sound terrible in there as well. So we'll start stripping it down, see how we go. First of all, we're going to take all the bell housing bolts out. Some on the outer as well. Got 8 on the outer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the inside. What I've done, what makes it easier, you get a card like this, put them in as you take them out, you know where they all go, because sometimes they're different lengths. I don't know whether these are or not. I'll take them out, they probably are, but you know where they all go back together then, so it's just a little tip for you there. All the bolts that you take out, keep them in a separate casing. So I'll strip it down. So you can actually see, if I pull this fork off, yeah, the release bear is not that bad. In fact, the clutch itself, I don't think it's that old. Plenty of meat on that. Loads of meat on it, so it's not that old in the clutch. Yeah, that hasn't done a lot of miles since it was last done. Yeah, you can see the damaged bearing now. Right, smash the casing. So we'll start with taking all these bolts out. These inner ones. Then the outer ones, then we'll split the casing. We'll start with these inner ones. That's the 8 bottom ones. That's them. All look like the same length anyway, so it's pointless that. Sometimes they're different sizes, so if we lay this now on its back, it's a bit awkward, but the blocks are under there. Right, see if we've got this propped up now, see if we can tap it apart now. When I find my screwdriver. That's stuck on the dowels. The sealer. So it's probably better with this laid down. She's starting to come. I have got, which is quite good. got it. And that answers the question about the shaft. Look at that. Well, you can see all that. Clips come out. You can see here, look at this around the magnet. There's a little magnet in there, but each one of them is a piece of that bearing, which if we look in the other case, which is here, there you go. That bearing's just destroyed. A little bit more. Parts of it just burst apart, split that casing. That's a shame, is that? Thought I might have just got away with the casing, but that bearing is part of the shaft. The inner race on the bearing is the shaft. All one. Just worn it away. Take the diff out, or it falls out. Yeah, bits wants all cleaning. The diff's alright actually. The bearings are alright, there's no marks on them. Or there is yet, they're destroyed. Or is it just dirt? No, it's actually killed. Get a bit of rag. Actually killed. Bits have got in. You can see where it's destroyed the bearing for the diff. That would have been long before that had gone. All that race there will be shot. Yeah, it's been all marked. But yeah, whether you can see that better on camera. That's started to break up. Well, this side's like, well, it's not bad. That was definitely on its way. So just get all the bits. Here's the magnet. You can see all the metal shards just stuck to the magnet. Look, you see if I can see. There's another bit there stuck in. So, probably better in the long run get a second-hand gearbox for it. Looking at the reverse gear, see whether it's done any damage to that. seems okay. I'm surprised it hasn't taken the teeth off there as well. Definitely taken all that. The end of the shaft. Not worth stripping the rest of it, to be fair. I'll get that linkage what was stuck originally. Seems working fine now, is that? Must have just been the bearing that was jamming it. So, that's his problem. Just show you better. Put this on the floor. Show you that casing a bit clearer. That's the plastic race. There's the rollers. The outside of the bearing casing is still in there. The inner side is part of the shaft. But like that one, if you look at that one there, see, that's where it's supposed to go. And it just sits on the shafts, as opposed to a normal bearing where it has an inner and outer. So it's destroyed the main shaft. Right, I best start looking, see if I can find another one from somewhere. Oh dear. So, back with the replacement gearbox that I've got off eBay. Paid £150 for this, so I actually stripped it down just to make sure that the diff bearings were alright and the shafts are alright. You can see from this one that the shaft's fine on this one, whereas it was destroyed on the last one. And you see the casing here. This is the old casing. It's smashed through. That's what it should look like. On the underside, this is where the casing, where that bearing had just exploded. Like I said, popped through that casing there. You can see that. And this is what it should look like. That bearing, see, there's no inner race on that bearing because it runs on that shaft there. So everything's alright with that. I'll get it all cleaned up. Put some new diff bearings on it. Stay aware of it. They were on the way out, so put some new diff bearings in, and we put a new one of these in as well. I had Stephen Breers do that, gearbox place in Leeds, so thanks to them for that. Would have done it myself, but I haven't got a press at the moment, so I've let them do it. So let's crack on with building it up. Yeah, one of the first things I need to do is change this guide tube. Well, the guide tube's alright actually, but I'll change it anyway. But there's actually a seal at the back of that runs on that shaft. I want to change anyway, so I'll whip that out. There you can see the seal inside. You need to knock that out. Be careful not to hit that bearing. That new bearing that's been put in. Put that new seal in. Really careful not to damage that bearing. That's it. That's the seal. Probably nothing wrong with it, but change it anyway. It's not quite easy, that one. Can't come out anyway because of this plate. Make sure it's down even. Sits on a ledge anyway. Yeah, those little pegs look like they hold it in position as well, so where did the screw go? After that, I'll torque that up. New guide tube with the new sealing. So we'll get this, all the sealer on this now, and mate it back together. We should be good to go. So we'll start with just running a little bead silicone around the gearbox, around the mating edges. And when the mating surfaces come together, this will seal it. Probably a bit too much on here, but can't do it any harm. Not forgetting to put the diff in. I'm going to smooth this. So I make sure it spreads on properly. People just leave a little bead on it, but I like to spread it so it's covered the whole area. bit of oil. On the seals where they go on. So it goes on easy. Where it goes. That way. Don't want to force it together. That's it. Just tap it down. That's it. Pushes together. All the bolts in. Just run these down. Oh, no, that's the outside one. Not running these down fully as yet. Casing's closed up all the way around. That's good. The shaft's still turning. Put these outer ones in. Right, so that's all in. Feels good. We'll get those torqued up now. And that's ready to go back in. So now we can torque all those bolts up. So if we start in the middle. Go across. That's it. And now we should be able to get all the gears You can see the linkage now lifting up and down. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, reverse. So they're all selected now. That's ready to go back in. Just put a new release bearing on the fork. They've got somewhere. And that's ready to go. Now I'll put the release bearing on. Put a little bit of copper slip on there. Not a lot, you don't want it going on the clutch. Put some on the pin. That should just slot over. There you go. That's the fork on ready. Anyway, please like and subscribe and hit the thumbs up button, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.